You're watching News Today with me, and there's been a news just coming in from Parliament. The Speaker, Alban Badbin, has finally settled on who is majority leader in the House. Remember that there have been some confusion as to whether or not Osei Kyei-Mensah Bonsu can be addressed as the majority leader. Yesterday and the day before in the proceedings, we had the Speaker address him as majority leader. Earlier, there had been concerns as to whether or not he is the leader of the majority group or the majority caucus. Let's go live to Parliament now and speak to correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gatbo for more on this. Joseph, bring us up to speed and in much detail what the Speaker has been saying on this issue of how to address the leaders in the House.
And so the NPP's whip, Frank Cannot drew the Speaker's attention. What he said was the wrong reference. The leader on the NPP side repeatedly as something else than the majority leader. And in his words, there was an orchestrated attempt by some MPs on the NDC side, including Okujetua Blakwa and Al-Hassan Sudini, to prevent a situation where Mr. Osei Kyei-Mensah Bonsu is not addressed as is expected. And so he invited the Speaker to pass a judgment on what exactly the situation is in terms of what who should be called. And so the Speaker reiterated what he had said the first time that the House met, that the NPP side platform constitutes the majority group, and based on that, he went on to make the point where the leader on that side, when you refer to NPP platform, the leader of that group, Osei Kyei-Mensah Bonsu, can be called the majority leader. And then he went on to make the point that Haruna Idrisu, who is the MP for Tamale South, can then be referred to as the minority leader. Just that before he made that point, he reiterated what he had said earlier, that he doesn't see a case of either side referring to themselves as a caucus. He defines what a caucus is to be a group of people who are like-minded. And so he said there can be regional caucuses, there can be a Christian caucus in Parliament. But for the purpose of this particular 8th Parliament, for him, there is nothing like a majority caucus in terms of what the NPP plus the formula wants to be called. But they should be the majority group with the leader, the majority leader, and the NDC side can then be the minority group with the leader called the minority leader, in this case, Haruna.
So what was the reaction of the now minority leader, as I can freely address him, Haruna Idrisu, and his side?
He responded with little or no emotion. He didn't smile, he didn't frown. He just sat down and paid attention to his desk, even as the Speaker read out those specific details. On the side of the NPP, there was a roar of applause directed at the Speaker for that final declaration that their leader can be referred to as the majority leader in Parliament.
Joseph, what else has been happening in Parliament?
A number of other things. First of all, there was a suggestion by the majority leader, as you can call him now, Osei Kyei-Mensah Bonsu, that when it comes to approval of various ministerial appointees by the President, the House has to hold off and wait for the reconstitution of the appointment committee based on a new standing orders that the House is hoping to approve soon, before then the vetting can actually go ahead. There's been an objection to that from the NDC side. Its Deputy Whip Ibrahim Ahmed says that the House is eager to approve the President's ministers, and so they will not delay at all, and they will want to see a situation where the appointment committee, as it's constituted now, goes ahead to do the vetting and approval. Eventually, Speaker Alban Badbin ruled that the appointment committee, as it exists now, even before the approval of the standing order, stands very much with very firm powers to vet the ministers and do the necessary approval. So eventually, that matter was laid to rest. Not just that, there's been suggestions from a number of MPs demanding that various institutions, including the economic and organized crime officials, are hauled before Parliament to respond to questions having to do with the stolen baby syndicate. And as well, there's been suggestions that officials from the Noguchi Memorial Institute appear to respond to questions having to do with the fake COVID-19 test rumors that's actually making rounds. The House is dealing with all of that. Any moment from now, there will be a statement on the passing away of former President Derrick John Rawlings, after which the House will deal with the motion having to do with the payment of fees by tertiary level students that Mahama Yaga is expected to do.
A lot happening in Parliament. Joseph, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed. And of course, in our subsequent bulletin,